The Sci-Horror Film Podcast. Hello and welcome to the Sci-Horror Film Podcast. I am Andy Walker. Hello. And I am joined as always by my son Scott. Hello, Scott.
Hello.
Hello. What? It's winter. I've got my winter drawers on.
It looks very pink. I don't know if that's just my screen.
It's because it is pink.
I know. I didn't know if it was my screen or the light. It just looked very pink.
No, it's pink.
Okay.
It's a pink oodie. With little fluffy bobbly bits. There you go.
Those look very very cozy.
It is very cozy, actually. I am perfectly secure in my manhood, so I can wear pink. How are you, anyway?
To be honest, they're a bit jealous. I'm all right.
I'll get you a pink hoodie if you want.
I've been looking for one for ages, one that might fit me, just so I could wear it. There are times where I sit here and I'm freezing, and I don't want to sit here with like God knows how many layers on.
The problem I have with this is if I've got it on and I'm sitting on the sofa and the TV on at night, I just fall asleep.
Yeah.
So watching it wearing it when I'm trying to watch a film, especially for the podcast, is not the best idea.
No, I can imagine. But other than that, I'm all right. I'm getting through things. How are you?
Yeah, not bad. Getting there. Had to go to work today, which I wasn't expecting. Well, I was expecting to go, but not for as long as I did, because one of the other people was off. But yeah, no, we're doing all right. So yes, we've only got one more show to go after this one.
Yes. Do you know how hard it's been to do what you were saying about doing for like the last show?
Yeah, well,
I've gone through so many, and I can't. The second list you said about, I can do that, not a problem.
Yeah,
it's the first one. I'm like, I haven't got a clue where to start.
We'll work it out. Okie doke. So on this one, we are doing sci-fi again, and we have two short sci-fi films and a sci-fi feature film. The first of our short films is from 2024, and it's called Restricted Area. This is a CGI sci-fi short on Ko-Fi or Ko-Fi Films, and it's a film by Chris Lee. Synopsis for this says, in the 70s, a mysterious object suddenly appeared in the air of a remote town, and the people of the town disappeared collectively overnight. Later, the army also came to investigate the mysterious object, but all of them disappeared. After the disappearance of the mysterious object, this place became a forbidden area where no one dared to come. After 50 years, the mysterious object reappears and an explorer decides to visit the place. Bing. Now, I don't know about you, but I think the idea behind this story is really interesting, but without reading the synopsis, it feels a little bit like it's lacking something, because you need the backstory to fully get what's going on.
Yeah, no, I did the same thing. I watched it and I was like, what? Without reading it, and I was like, what am I missing? And then when I read the synopsis, I was like, okay, yeah, that makes a bit more sense. Yeah, I agree with you. It's a good film, but it's lacking something unless you know what's going on.
Yeah, I mean the CGI is good. I mean it's got a good look to it, and the movements are pretty good, and it looks good and looks interesting. It's not a bad film, but I kind of was left a bit empty because The weird thing about it is, unlike a lot of the some other films we've seen, I want to know more about what's going on, but not to the point where I want it to be made into a bigger film or I want to see another one necessarily.
Yeah, I sort of. It's almost like it's really bad, but I almost want one of them. It's almost like one of them things that it's quite happening to watch the film, but sort of someone else to go. This is what it's all about, by the way. I'm not
Yeah.
actually, and I'm just saying, I agree with you. Like the CGI to it is amazing. I think the idea behind it, the whole story behind it, is amazing and a really good idea.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's yeah. It just seems like it's lacking that
I mean,
oomph.
there are
I
other films
suppose
we've
it's
seen that have been the same, where we've kind of gone, oh, I really want to know more about it, and I want to see another film to find out what I'm going, or want them to expand on it. But
yeah.
I'm not that bothered if they do, because it
No,
doesn't.
it's a good film, and I'd like to know more, but I'm not. It sounds bad, but I'm not fussed about it.
Yeah,
Like, if they make more about it and they say more about it, then that's good. But I'm not gonna go out of my way to find out what it's about.
yeah, absolutely, I agree.
It's a shame because it looks like a lot of work has gone into it. But
Yeah, this is the thing. It does look like they put a lot of work into it, and I quite enjoyed watching it.
hmm,
But it was a bit kind of like, yeah, I don't know.
yeah,
Um, yeah, okay. On to the second short film. Our second short film is also from 2024. This is a film called Eclipsia. It's on Alfonso's Pictures. It's apparently supposedly a sci-fi cyberpunk short, and it's kind of dystopian sci-fi. The writers Alfie Johnson and Harry Rogers. Director is Alfie Johnson, and the cast is Harry Rogers, Harrison Clemens, Lewis Pugh, Alex Clemens, Tyler Regan, Joshua Holloway, and Jennifer Garvey. The synopsis for this says a broken planet, drowned in radiation. The result of an all out war left the world shattered. The group Unity offered all survivors to take temporary refuge inside a conveniently built megapolis, Eclipsia, until an alternative develops. It has been 80 years. The film follows two detectives uncovering the mystery of a murder.
yeah,
This has the same problem as the other one. I like the
yeah,
backstory, and there is a
yeah,
bit of it. It tells you a bit of it at the beginning of the film, but without knowing the full backstory, there feels like there's something missing from the film.
yeah. It's and I suppose even like you said, even with the story at the beginning, it's a lot of to pay attention to with what's going on.
Mm.
Is sort of, but again, I like the idea behind it, but for me, since sort of Blade Runner 2, I suppose, but there's been a lot of this idea. The
Yeah,
whole dystopian future, everything's in radiation. Obviously, you got Mad Max and done the same thing, and it's a sort of, I don't know. It's a good idea, and I like the story behind it, but it's also blended in with an idea that's been done so many times.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
feel that it could have been a good film without the whole, I don't know, without the whole broken planet sort of
Well,
future
to
thing.
be honest, in a lot of ways, it's very much just basically uh, a kind of police mystery, sort of like somebody's murdered and they're investigating who did it.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a sort of, it's still got a sci-fi aspects, but it's, yeah, like you said, it's more of a sort of crime mystery filler.
yeah, I mean the effects are pretty good, and the editing's pretty good. Some of the acting I think was a bit more than a bit wooden, but I don't know. I get the feeling that that may have been a kind of thing of experience or whatever, because they
Yeah,
all seem pretty young, the
yeah,
guys that are in it. Um, Again, it's not an overall it's not a bad film,
no,
but it didn't do much for me really. I kind of like was at the end of it. I thought, yeah, Yeah,
Yeah, I did the same sort of. Like I said, it's one of them films that's the idea's been done a lot, and it's sort of okay, yeah, so I was sort of losing interest anyway. And
yeah,
like I said, the acting wasn't the best in the world, but like you said, I do agree with you. I think a lot of it was down to experience. Um, but I don't know, it just sort of I got to the end of it and I was like, okay, that's done.
yeah.
It was I wasn't sort of left overwhelmed and sort of I want to know more. I would love to know what's gone on or anything. I was sort of like, okay, it's that's it. It's done. It's done with. Okay,
Yeah.
and it's just sort. I feel bad for him because again, like it looked like it was a good piece of work and a good idea, but I think
I
it's
wonder. I did wonder if this may be something to do with a student project because they kind of
they do
came
look
across a
for
bit like that.
student type, and
Yeah,
it could be, I suppose, yeah, a student project, but I don't know. It just for
yeah,
like you said, I think it's just missing that oomph to
yeah.
sort of the last little push bit, really.
No, I agree. Okay, doke. On to our feature film. Now, this feature film, its episode is from 2017, and it is the film Life. This
Yes.
is from, oh, pardon me. This is from Columbia Pictures and Skydance. It's available at the moment on Netflix, and I think it might be other places as well. The writers are uh, Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick. Director Daniel Espinosa. The cast, or not all of the cast, but these are the main characters: Ryan Reynolds, Rebecca Ferguson, Jake Gyllenhaal, Olga Dihavichiana, and Aaron Bakar. The synopsis for this film says a team of scientists aboard the International Space Station discover a rapidly evolving life form that caused extinction on Mars and now threatens all life on Earth.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure about this film, and mainly the reason for that is because it's got Ryan Reynolds in it. He's one of these people, it's an odd thing. I find most of his films a bit hit and miss. So
Okay.
there's a lot of his films I've watched and I thought I don't really like that and I didn't really like him in it.
Mm.
But there are other films that I think he's really good in.
Okay.
So I know this sounds odd to say this. I was happy, that may not be the right word, that he was out of it pretty quickly.
Yeah, I was just saying, when I first watched this, I thought to myself, obviously, there's quite a few big names in this,
Yeah,
and for obviously at the time, sorry, at the time, Ryan Reynolds wasn't he was still a name, but he wasn't as big as he is now, I suppose. But yeah, how quickly he seemed to not be around anymore
yes,
did surprise me a bit.
yeah, true. But it kind of, as I say, I'm not, no, happy is the right word, but it kind of like made me think, oh, well, that's all right. I don't have to worry about him spoiling the film for me, if you like.
Yeah, I don't get me
Um,
wrong. There's a few moments in it with his character that I think his attitude plays good for like the whole. There's a scene in it when the malfunction happens in the lab
yeah,
where he's like, "Look, there's loads of me that can do this job, but there's only one of you." And I like that. I think his attitude towards that is good. But yeah, I do sort of understand what you mean. Films can be very hit and miss if you're not a big fan of his.
yeah. Um, so anyway, the film itself, I really love the idea and the story is
Yes.
really well put together. Um, the character, what I was sort of surprised about is the characters are really quite well developed in the short space of time you've got, because it's not very long between when you actually see them to when they start having the problems with this life form.
Yeah.
So, but over the space of the film, in between all of the action stuff, you do get to know them quite well.
Mm.
And I think that's really well done. It reminded me a little bit of the first Alien film
Yes. I
in the
do
way that
know.
you get
Yeah.
introduced to the characters and you see bits and pieces about their lives and about their background. So yeah, it was. I thought it was really good. I thought it was well done.
It, I do like it. I love the set design to it as well. Because
Yeah,
obviously there's a lot of CGI. There's probably a lot of green screen stuff that's done in it. So to do that, but to have it flow as well as it does, without it looking, I know obviously it's still 2017 is still more modern than it is, but it wasn't the fact that it was obvious to tell the fact that yeah they weren't floating over the earth and I think it was really. I understand. I love the story behind this. It's it's weird that obviously there's been a few alien life form films, especially ones that come from Mars. But it's the whole I don't know the sort of that moment. I suppose the moment in it where they realise they're not the alpha predators or the alphas anymore. They've brought back something that basically can outmaneuver them, outsurvive them, outthink them,
yeah,
and it's something that's basically they've brought back to life. And I like the fact that it's that I don't know that sort of working out what's going on as well as fighting for survival. There's still and it shows it. It's not just straight away we've got to kill it.
yeah, yeah,
It's what's gone on. What's like what? Why is it reacting this way?
yeah,
And I
yeah,
like the fact that it's one of the few films with an alien in it or alien life form in it where it doesn't just go from we've found this creature, we need to kill it. It does show that bit in between of or do we do that or can we reason with it? Can we tame it basically? And I like that journey for it.
yeah. No, no, I agree. I agree. I think. I mean, I think the alien effects, the CGI and whatever stuff on the alien itself, especially when it's smaller, when
Yeah.
it's starting to grow and it's starting to feel around, the CGI effects on that are absolutely brilliant.
Yes.
They're so well done. But then it kind of becomes this kind of quite fast-paced thing where you don't see a lot of the alien because it spends a lot of its time darting from one place to another
Yeah.
really quickly.
Yes.
But it's done in a really good way. It keeps the action going, which I really liked.
And yeah, it's not. I suppose it's not full of jump scares either
No,
with it when it does things. It's very slyly done with the whole like there's a scene sort of nearer to the end when they find the creature again and it's
yeah,
sort of it's not it doesn't jump out, it's very slyly done the fact that it's been there the whole time basically.
yeah.
And I think it's moments like that that show that you don't have to have the sudden jump scares, the sudden in your
Well,
face moments. You can have them sly sort of skulking moments with like they do with it.
one of the things I like about this as well is the fact that there's this constant argument. I mean, I have it with people, and I've seen other people have it with people about Alien, about whether Alien is a science fiction film or a horror film. Some people say it's a space horror, which I don't really think works for me. Um,
No.
but the thing about this is to me, this is without question, it's unequivocally a sci-fi film.
Yes.
It's not a sort of sci-fi stroke horror or space horror or whatever. It is a sci-fi film,
Yeah.
100%. And I really like that. I like the fact that they kind of kept it that.
Yeah.
Um, and one of the things is, to be honest, it was really um, refreshing for me is the fact that right up to the end, I wasn't expecting the twist at the end.
No.
I really
No.
wasn't expecting the twist at the end, but it was a perfect finish for the film,
Yes.
having that twist at the end. I really
I
liked
think
it.
it's. I do love films like that that keep you guessing until the very like. Because there's been a few films that we've watched, not only for this but other films, that you sort of you get about halfway through and you go, "Well, that's what this is about. That's what's going to happen."
Yeah,
But this is literally up until the last 5 minutes. You're left going, "Oh, this is the way it's going," and then suddenly that twist at the end, and it
yeah,
changes it. I was like, and I sat there after, like, okay, that it completely threw me.
Yeah,
Like what was
absolutely.
going on.
I've got to say, to be honest, this film, along with Spaceman,
Yeah.
I think they are these two films are they're two of the best science fiction films I've seen in recent years.
Yes.
I
I think
really,
what I liked about this and Spaceman is it's not like we said. It's not just the sci-fi, and it's not just obviously the gore. Where it's how people deal with the emotion,
yeah,
with dealing with the turmoil and the inner struggle with themselves. And like, so see Jake Gyllenhaal's character saying like that he preferred being in space away from people because it was too hectic.
yeah,
And how I can sort of relate to that with the whole moments where you just sort of go, yeah, you want to be around people, but then there's times it's just like I want to be left alone.
yeah,
I
definitely.
know, okay, yeah, it's a bit extreme way to go, like sit in the ISS for like, almost a whole year for what his character's up there just to be left alone. But I understand that sort of point of like I just don't want to be around anyone, so I will do what I need to do to make sure that I'm not around anyone.
Yeah,
And I do like it. I think it shows that sort of
it's I thought it was a really good film, and the thing about it is, I hope, and I don't know because I mean it's been what
been almost 10 years,
7 years,
7 years. Yeah,
7 years. I hope that they're not going to bother making a sequel to it
not as
because
far as I'm
I
aware.
think it works perfectly well as it is.
Yeah.
So I just I don't know. I really enjoyed watching this, and it's a film that I would quite happily watch again.
Yes, Sam, I would as well. It's a film that I've watched bits and like dribs and drabs from over the years because of the fact it's got to the point. I go, I want to really watch that, and then by the time I got around to watching it, it's like 2 in the morning, and I'm like falling asleep. But to actually sit and watch this and get to the point where I'm like, okay, and then seeing what was done and how it went, and sort of the whole journey through the whole thing,
Yeah,
and I suppose and the science behind it as well, which really works, and I think it's a really good film.
it is a really good film. I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. Okay, so there we go. We have two short films. We had Restricted Area, which is a good CGI film, well made and all that sort of thing, but was lacking a bit story wise, I think. Then we have Eclipsia, which was pretty much the same. It was a good idea, but it was lacking something in the story, whatever. And then Life, which we both enjoyed, and you know, I
Yes.
would recommend to anyone to watch. If you're a sci-fi fan and you haven't watched it, go out and watch it.
I'm saying for me as well. I think it's a credit to the acting ability of certain characters in it as well.
Yeah, I mean,
Jake
the
Gyllenhaal's
acting was
acting in
really
it,
good.
I think, was really good. And some of the acting in it, I think, was amazingly done.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Hey, thank you very much for your input and insights.
Okay. Glad.
Next week is our last show proper, and we are doing something a bit different. We are reviewing a animated series which is available on Channel 4 in the UK and online on the Channel 4 um, on demand player. And it is a series called Uzumaki,
Yes.
Japanese, I believe. It's done through Adult Swim. It is an I don't know. I don't know. It's
I don't think it's even they even know what it is.
it's very strange. I don't know if I would class it as sci-fi or horror. I'm not sure. It's a bit of both, but it's a bit of neither, and it's kind of just odd. But we're going to be doing that. We're going to review that next episode. So until then, when we will be back to do more of that kind of thing and some things and other things, we will be going away because otherwise we can't come back. There you go. Nothing like a good bit of logic.
Yes. And also,
That was
if
that
anyone's got
was
any ideas for films or or
yes.
shorts or anything, send them through to us. We can look at it for next year maybe, or we can look at, I don't know,
Yeah, if
the
you've
next
got
season. We
short
can look at.
films or feature films you would like us to review, or ones you've made, or whatever, contact us. You can contact us through the YouTube channel, or we do have a Facebook page which is called the Sci-Fi Film
Network.
Network. That's it, the Sci-Fi Film Network, which is on Facebook. It's a page for anyone. If you want to come on there, you can leave a message on there, and we'll pick it up. And stuff like that. So until then, bye.
Bye.
The Sci-Fi Film Podcast.